Welcome back to round 4 of Interlagos here at the ATK Pro Series. My name is Ernest Page, and this is the Gran Turismo version of our championship. And of course, the best GT sport drivers from all around the country have gathered in one location. And this time, it's in Brazil to find out who is the best. Of course, there are multiple divisions, but Division 1 is what we will be showcasing tonight, and that is where the top tier talent make their way. Of course, this series is brought to you and powered by Mercedes-Benz, which means we'll be seeing some very interesting cars tonight, also powered by Mercedes-Benz. Powered by is a big word, and that means that we've got more sponsors, folks, and the sponsors include Motorsport South Africa, Kyle Army 9 Hour, and Coach Dave Academy. But I am not alone in the commentary booth, and hopefully I won't be fumbling any more words, Marius Roberts. As we start off our Monday night here at the ATK Pro Series, welcome to round 4.
You are never alone, my friend. You are never alone. Nice to have Stephen joining us again as well. Yeah, man, listen, load shedding causing a lot of cuck in our lives. Postponing schedules.
Yes.
But you know what? The nice thing is we're flexible and we learn to race around it. So I'm looking forward to Interlagos. I'm looking forward to racing into the future with a pretty interesting car. And we were just chatting offline with Stephen as well. A lot of strategy going on here. Is it going to be a one-stop or a two-stop race? And oh my goodness me, technical track, multiple strategies. Sounds like good racing.
I, for one, am glad that they're going to have a potential 1 or 2 stop. Stephen, welcome. What are your thoughts? Do you think we're going to see a split, or is it going to be one of the situations where the guys have the option to split, but they often always choose one of those options only?
That's what I was about to say. It should be a split. One stop is saving on time in the pits, but going slightly slow and having to save fuel, and then the 2 stoppers are going to have to push those qualifying laps to make their strategy work for them. So it's a bit of a lotto. We'll see from the lap times early on who's really putting the hammer down and who's trying to save a bit of fuel.
So Steve,
hopefully get an idea how it's going to spread out.
Go ahead, Marius.
Yeah, sorry, Stephen. Are they running on medium tires, or what is Gran Turismo set for this?
Actually have no idea what our settings are for the tires tonight.
Okay, because I'd imagine that could also be something that is worth discussing, because this car seems to be quite lively. It's like I think what does it weigh? 1.3 odd tons. It's a massive long wheelbase, lots of power. So I imagine keeping a bit of patience on the throttle is going to be a tricky one, especially around a track like this. Quite easy to get the tires lit up. So maybe it's going to be something we've spoken about a lot and never really seen it come into effect in the previous 3 rounds. But maybe this is a sort of car track setup that tires might be crucial.
Definitely. It is racing mediums. You're right in it, with 5 times tire wear. So with Gran Turismo, you can set the speed they wear at, so we're going 5 times a realistic wear rate tonight.
So they're going to have to change at least once.
At least once, correct. And that's another thing that might come into it. The 2 stoppers, if they're really good at saving their tires, then we possibly would see someone maybe not change at one of their stops to save an extra 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah. That's a lot. You see, for me, that's a lot of strategy, because
lots to watch out for.
Yeah, because I mean, if you go the 2 stop, you change both times, you then really can nail it, because you're not worrying about fuel saving, and you're going to be having to push hard to try and make up the time you've lost in the pits. But you're right, that could really be a guy that actually runs a pretty consistent, well-behaved thumb or right foot and looks after those tires could really save time on a two-stop by not changing tires on the second. Nice.
Well,
nice
I'm
spin.
looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to some different strategies. I'm looking forward to see the guys using strategy and not just racing, because we've seen guys like DKP, guys like Safa, Dino, and the rest of the top five, specifically Kalen, of course, let's not forget him in number 6 over there, that these guys are very, very tightly matched and very, very closely matched. And it would be nice to have a little bit of strategy separating them. We saw at the last round, the pit stop did cause, some juggling of positions there, and we're hoping to see some more of that in this 4th round over here. We got a couple of new names here: Steyn, Nieuwenhuizen, Alan van Graan, and Charles as well in 13th position over there. They are from Division 2, so they'll be here to try and upset that apple cart a little bit. But the car that they'll be driving, Marius, you mentioned it earlier on, that is most certainly not an apple cart. It's called the AMG Vision GT. And it's officially the first vision car for Gran Turismo. And it's something that was commissioned by AMG, or commissioned by Gran Turismo to AMG. And they came up with this concept where they actually built 5 of these cars. Now, whether you'd want to race those 5 cars, as we mentioned offline earlier, around a circuit, that's a different story. But we do get a car that is literally a designer's dream, and a bunch of designers were given free rein to come up with a concept car, and this is the car that they came up with. So we'll be going around the circuit in the AMG Vision GT, and now on screen we see the championship contender points over there with no surprises. Dino in first place, but by only 5 points.
Yeah, listen, I mean, that race, when it was 3 weeks ago, was an absolute cracker. And I really must just compliment the guys in the GT Championship, because they're really cool. Like on social media, Colin Mawa tagged us in and going on about, he couldn't believe he made that overtake himself, and Deacon had a fantastic race. And the guys have just, I mentioned last time, Carl and Dean have also just been really, really helpful in terms of sharing knowledge and letting us know what's going on in their minds in terms of strategy and what works and what doesn't. So they've really embraced joining the ATK Pro Series this year and kind of taking it to a new level. So I've appreciated that. And it's super, super close. And we mentioned last time that the guys have been pretty good. They're obviously racing in teams most of the time, so the rule is pretty clean. Let's just not trip over each other. We want to make sure that we score as many points as we can, and then basically it's gloves off when they get to the final round in Cape Town. So that's, I think, also a credit to the clean racing that we have seen, because the guys really have worked together within their teams. But yeah, that car, it's quite interesting, because a lot of the times you and I will sit and comment on cars because we've driven them in the real world, and then you can always look at how do they compare to the engineers and what they've designed into the drivability of it in game mode. In this case, no one's driven it really, because it would have been a mule that they used in the movies as well. So I think in that way the designers were allowed free rein in creativity in terms of how it looks, and I'm sure the guys have implemented that in terms of how it drives as well. So it's interesting. I love this, and I think that for me is what is so cool. It's been a great showcase for Mercedes-Benz, because it is all Mercedes-Benz, everyone driving the same car, and every time we race it's something different, and I love that.
Well, what is not different is who's on the top spot there. That's Dean Norkay. He came 3rd at Brands Hatch at the last event after a tussle with 2nd place man RTA Safa Kyle Oosthuizen, who's 3rd in the championship. But Dino is leading, and DKP, who won the last race, 17 years old, Marius. He is in 2nd position at the moment. So everything to play for now. I think those two are definitely in it to win it. But as we saw with Kyle Oosthuizen, he's right up there. And all it takes is one DNF, and we could see an entirely new version of the championship standings. Of course, we're going to be going into qualifying soon, Marius, in the next couple of minutes.
Ernest, if you remember the last round though as well, I mean, the guys were literally going to fuel save mode right at the end, and that's why we saw that switch around with like a lap to go. Dean just didn't have the power, and he was running out of fuel, and things changed. And we've spoken about it before we even get to qualifying in the race. That's a real big gamble the guys are going to be playing with today. So it's going to be cracker, and who's going to be running in fuel save mode and not. I think we're in for a really good race.
Well, I think the guys should, just in case, add that extra liter as we go into qualifying. We'll be right back after this. We are live, and just look at that car. Look at it. It is absolutely stunning. But this is going to be a beauty contest as well today, because KLM Pace posted a video that we were both tagged in, Marius, and his car is sensational. This, of course, is Fluffy Butt currently beating us all.
Oh, jeez. Look, you never ever want to have a fluffy butt. Okay.
Tell that to Stijn Oosthuizen, though. Tell that to Stijn Oosthuizen, the driver of this car. Oh, gets it a bit loose there. Gets it a bit loose there. And this is what we're talking about just offline. Yes, Stephen?
No, I was just going to say, Stein's one of the C8s. Nice to have a C8 joining us tonight.
He's at one of the teams as well, then.
Yeah, and he's one of the guys that could win it by a mile, or you never know what you're going to get.
Well, I know for sure I'm going to get a fluffy butt. So, I mean, that kind of sums that up. But it was quite interesting. We spoke about it right in the beginning that, have a look at the long wheelbase. I mean, there's a great example of a corner cut there as well. But have a look at the long wheelbase. So it's kind of like if you go back to the SLS, it's kind of the SLS on steroids.
That's
really
funny enough. This car takes inspiration from the SLS.
Big time. So the wheelbase looks even longer for me. So you're going to be sitting right on the rear. Big right in the rear. So I imagine this car is going to be like the SLS. It's going to be a handful. It's going to be quite tricky to keep this. It's going to be alive, I imagine, twitchy as well. So it's good they're running on medium compound, because at least there's going to be some grip in this. I'd hate to be driving this on a hard tire, but like I mentioned earlier, I think there's going to be some serious tire wear, because it looks like a car that's going to be really easy to light up and to get it rotated. So tire wear, fuel saving. It's going to be a tricky race, but it does look, it looks the part.
It totally looks the part. And look at all that understeer, though. We're seeing a lot of understeer from some of these guys. They're not allowed to make any changes. This is the sort of the evolution version of the car. So it's got a little bit of extra power as well, a little bit less weight, but certainly it does push the nose here and there, and that's what we're hoping to see. Nobody likes understeer, but I do like seeing a tire wall. And if we can see some guys struggling with with grip, struggling with tire wear, that'll certainly make things a lot more interesting as they go up and down the hill here in Brazil.
Yeah, this is crucial for me. This is what counts at Interlagos, is that final turn, and you start your long climb up the hill, because tricky braking downhill, you don't get good drive out of that corner, and you carry that mistake all down this long straight, and you're basically just going to be absolutely jumped by everybody when you get into turn one. And we know in Gran Turismo the draft mode really does work well. So for me, that corner is the one you really want to concentrate on and nail it and get it right, as are the CNSs. I mean, it's crucial. Heavy under braking. It also drops down. So we often, when you watch the Formula One cars go through there, you often see them lock up a left front, because that's part of the car that gets unweighted through there. So it's technical and crucial to line that up too, because that's also onto another nice little straight section with an overtaking opportunity.
But so far we see RTA Safa at the top spot there, and then Joan de Jager, a familiar name in this championship contention, in second position. Taylor currently in third, and our man Fluffy Butt in fourth position. I think he's gone down now. He's been pushed down a little bit. We've got a new man in fourth position over there, but I'm keen to see where DKP, Dino Deer land up, and of course Ewan Taylor as well. Kalen also, I think. So a lot of these guys have been showing some pace, Marius. I think it's nice to know that there are a couple of guys that could mix things up for us, especially in a car that might be a bit tricky to drive as we go on board now.
Well, I think what the guys have also enjoyed, and probably willing to thank Eskom for the fact they've had another week to practice, because it's literally given them a lot of time. So it'll be quite interesting to see what strategies the guys are going to run with, and this is something we're going to see maybe once, definitely once, maybe twice, as the teams decide is it going to be a one-stop or two-stop. We heard as well, running on medium compounds, definitely are going to be changing tires as well. So it's quite cool to actually have a look at the pit crew. Hard at work. Yeah, listen, it's definitely no
nuts getting stuck there.
Yeah, it's no Red Bull change at 1.9 seconds. But just chatting offline with Carl, I think a couple of weeks back, and he was just saying to me, you're looking at like 30 seconds plus on the pit stop here. So that becomes crucial in the strategy. Like, how do you make it work when you're probably going to do I don't know what, 26 laps in the allotted time. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it pans out. But again, Ernest, we've really been treated this year, both with the Gran Turismo Sport and with the Assetto Corsa side of things, racing at some really classic tracks. And again, this is a track that follows the lie of the land. It's got beautiful contours and undulations and off-camber corners, and it's just a real driver circuit. And that for me has been a joy of the season, is seeing us racing at these fantastic tracks. And Interlagos is certainly up there as a driver's favorite too.
Yeah, it's an incredible circuit, as you say, flowing lines up and down. And you were mentioning that crucial corner, the final corner onto the long straight. Even though that section does bend a little bit to the left, I suspect these cars go through there flat out. They do generate a little bit of downforce, and that's the thing. The corner before the longest straight is the most important corner. And in this case, as you see the guys now making their way out there, RTA Safa and DKP drafting each other. There's Safa in front, DKP behind him. DK currently in 6th position, Safa in 1st, and DKP 0.4 of a second down. He's going to cross the line now. Let's see if he manages to get higher than that. No, he doesn't.
But Ernest, have a look at what's happening already. I mean, I spoke about it right in the beginning that the teams have decided to work together and not trip over each other in a race. Now, this is a great opportunity for teams to work together in qualifying. We've spoken about the value of the draft. So have a look at the two guys there working together, RTA team, helping
Dino's
each other.
Dino's gone first, eh? Dino's gone first.
Yeah, they're helping each other in the qualifying, and that's kind of the time that the guys were benchmarking is the mid-30s as a crack time. So I expect to see them flip across and help each other out like that with qualifying for sure. And you're going to see that in the race too.
Yeah, still a couple of minutes of qualifying left. You could just get our producer to give us that time there. I'd love to know how much time we've got left in qualifying. Bit of a sideways moment there, and that is it. That is the lap ruined. All it takes in a situation like this is one little sideways moment, as fun as it can be. You're probably going to lose a little bit of time there. 8 minutes of qualifying left, and still plenty time for these guys to... Sorry, 8 minutes completed, 2 minutes to go. Apologies.
I'd love to know if they've switched around here and they've given each a chance at the toe here, because it's crucial down the straight. So this is probably, in my mind, the lap that's going to count. So that little slide kind of wouldn't be worried about. I think they've done the switcheroo. So we're looking to get a good draft down here and start a cracking lap time.
So the guys drafting each other a lot here down that long straight. Lots of pace down that straight as well. I mean, these cars are not slow, that's for sure.
Not at all. I mean, and look at that. You're required to make a pretty dynamic direction change. And if you line up the center S's perfectly, the drive you get down this straight I spoke about is crucial. But again, very, very tricky break point, because it also slightly downhill, dips away, very easy to run wide. And we saw that the cones were put out there as well. So pushing wide over there, you're going to get yourself penalized. So yeah, there's a lot for these guys to consider in this race, not just strategy, but just making sure they don't exceed track limits.
DKP still down in 6th position, Marius. Safa in 5th. Look at the standings. Dino, no issues for him there in 1st position, but De Jager in 2nd. We saw that at the last event. De Jager was very high up on the standings in qualifying, but wasn't able to maintain through the race. Taylor, I think he's going to be happy with that 3rd place over there, but certainly Safa and DKP being pushed down a little bit, with KLM Pace in 8th position. So I think the standings won't change too much now, but we're definitely going to looking at a slightly different looking grid from the last couple of qualifying sessions.
Yeah, but this is actually quite exciting, because it's always been the usual suspects sitting in the top 3, and that's not the case now. So is it going to be a case of a last gasp, last lap as the time runs out? We find the same guys up at the top again, but at the moment it is going to be a very different grid position, and I like that too. Not what they're going to want going into the race,
Yeah, that is exactly that. They got 3 seconds left. Oh, and they're going straight into the race. We've got no ad break now. I think we've got enough Mercedes-Benz on the screen for everybody to know that this event is, of course, powered by Mercedes-Benz. And how? With these cars boasting a 5.5-litre engine up front, but kind of a little bit further back, maybe a mid-engine sort of setup, very low down, similar to, as you say, the SLS. And these guys will be pushing these cars to the absolute limit as we see Dino line up in first position. De
Let's hope
Jager
we get them all
in
the way
second.
through.
Yeah.
That's been a great qualifying for Juan to put that in second position. Teammates working together. So I suppose that's going to be his first job, is just to protect Dean in this case, and that's exactly what you want going into turn one, knowing that it's your teammate up your inside. You don't have to worry about any late braking movements.
Off they
3
go.
DMR cars and 3 RTA cars right behind.
Yeah.
Team-on-team battle here. Just
Team-
on RTA Donkey not racing today because he welcomed young Remy into the world this week.
Oh
He's
wow!
on baby duty.
Congratulations.
Geez, like how does he have time to race and make babies? The guy's multi-talented, eh?
Definitely.
I suppose. Well, I was going to say, what's Thrustmaster's controller?
Well, Thrustmaster is certainly taking on a new meaning for Donkey over there. Congratulations to him. Juan de Jager still in second position, challenging
He's
for
made a
first
move.
there.
Yeah, he's made a move.
Taylor looking for
Taylor.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, the guys are really starting to tussle over here. Juan de Jager was in second position. Is that still him in second?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. No, it is still him. But I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I'm saying that the guys are not going to race each other and trip over each other. They nearly did that heading into it looked like turn 4, 5 over there. So yeah, we've got formation flying at the moment in terms of the teams. And there's KLM Pace, really really nice. I like that livery. It actually looks a lot like the Mercedes-Benz
Yes.
Formula One team with the Petronas colours.
Colours, yes.
Yeah, really, really nice. Good job.
Beautiful
And
stuff.
he does stand out. I see a cone's gone clattering, so someone's run a little bit wide on the exit out of turn 12 up the hill. But this is what I'm quite keen to see, is the draft effect running down at this phase. It is a long straight and so easy with that additional speed arriving at turn 1 to miss your brake point and Lewis Hamilton it into the wall. So yeah, no one's gone and done that, but people are cutting corners here. And we spoke about it earlier. The game is going to be pretty strict in terms of issuing penalties on that.
Very strict so far, I'm sure, and we'll see those penalties get issued immediately. And look at this line astern, all of them, DMR, RTA, and RTA, the top 6 making up the 2 main teams and the teams that we've seen feature the most in the last couple of rounds, of course, with SMP Pro in 7th position and KLM Pace in 8th place, but still early days, 37 minutes to go. So
yeah, it's Cornet Esterhazen who's flying the RTA flag at the moment, putting pressure. It looked like there was almost a mistake that he brought on there from Taylor, getting him to run a little bit wide. But yeah, very very interesting shift around because Deaky's behind and Carl behind him. So it's nice to see Cornet leading the RTA charge.
Yeah, and these guys are so closely matched in qualifying as well. It'll be interesting to see if the groups are actually going to split apart or if they're going to be stuck together. And just look at how much this car moves, though. This car's all over the place, Marius. And that corner that you mentioned earlier on, the one that they just came out of now, is the most crucial one. Turn 13 going into turn 14, the most crucial section, certainly on this track.
Stephen, I've got a question here now. I'm having a look at this and I'm thinking Tour de France and drafting, and I'm wondering if a guy like Cornet is not doing like getting it all over the place.
That word you used early on, word you used early on, Marius, clattering. I think it's appropriate.
I'm just wondering if for guys like Carl sitting there in 5th place and Deaky in 6th, they're going to be running in full fuel save mode over here now, because especially down that long straight with the draft, they can just back off. I wonder if that's the sort of strategy that the guys may have gone into with this and said, listen, let's just let our top guys get fuel saving mode and try and see if we can run them longer.
You know, the detail in this game is so intense. I'm going to hand it over to Steven now to maybe talk about that a little bit more. But it does seem like this game does go into that kind of detail.
Definitely. Deaky last time out, I don't know if you obviously will remember, he was quite a bit light on juicing. I think that's what made the difference at the end. But yeah, they do run that. If you're in the slipstream, it lessens the fuel effect. You also have the fuel map settings, so coming through Jinkar at the bottom all the way up the hill. Once you're at close to maximum speed, you can click it down into map 2 or 3 and just save that extra little bit.
Yeah.
Because if you have 10% more fuel going into the pits,
We go on board here
that's
with
about
Dino.
5 to 8 seconds.
Sure, that's a lot of time, eh? Oh, somebody's gone off. Somebody's gone all the way wide. Oh
No,
my
that-
goodness.
That might be the game. The
Yeah, that
internet
was
connection doing
ghosting.
something.
Yeah, I
Oh
think that
my
was
goodness
that
me.
was ghosting. I
we
thought
did-
that was Lewis.
Well, we've
Looks
lost
like
one of
we
the top
lost
guys.
Taylor.
That looks like Taylor. Yeah, Taylor's not on the top 3 list anymore, and what a shame that would be. As Taylor left the room.
Bottom's just disconnected.
Taylor has
So
disconnected. He was
frustrating.
running in 3rd position. Now that means leapfrogs his way into 3rd place over there, and
Yeah, that's
he'll be.
Cornet.
Yeah, Cornet will be happy with that. I mean, Cornet, I think this might be one of his better placings so far in 3rd position in the top 3, but it's very early days as we just get confirmation that Taylor might have had the dreaded load shedding. Yeah, uniquely South African problems, isn't it?
Yeah. Listen, I suppose that's what we deal with in this country. You know, if you're racing for real, something breaks on the car. But if you're racing virtually, your connectivity is key. I mean, that's in inverted commas the mechanical issues that you deal with when you go racing in this way. But I've got a funny feeling that I think these guys are running to lap deltas. I think they've gone and run so many simulations of this, and they know what they need to do for the race. And in a way, it's a little bit sad because I dig it to be a complete, proper, all-out sprint race like you see in MotoGP. But
Yes.
I think this is very much turning into what we see in Formula One, where the guys are running different mapping. They're on a fuel-saving strategy, and I think we're going to end up finding like the last 10 laps is going to be where the real action comes to play, with the different strategies planned out. But I think at the moment these guys know exactly what sort of lap times they need to be running for their strategy. And that's a big difference. We don't see that in Assetto Corsa, but we certainly do see this in the GT Championship.
Yeah, it does look like the guys are able to get the kind of consistency here that it's very rare. I mean, the level of consistency demonstrated by some of these guys is just incredible. Safa there, we now got eyes on him, 1.5 seconds down in 4th position. The top back still all stuck together. I mean, there's not much separating any of these guys as they zip past the camera over there. Arte leaped there, now in 3rd position, just 1.2 seconds down to 1.1 seconds. But man, this is some close racing with Dino still leading the charge in front.
Yeah, it's a pity that we lost Ewan with whatever problems that he had, because it was probably his best running at that stage, sitting in 3rd place. So Cornet obviously happy to get one spot closer, sitting on a podium position at this stage, but obviously still leading the charge for the RTA team, and trying to see if they can put some pressure on Dino and the guys up ahead and Juan.
So, Stephen, this one's for you. If you're running a team like the RTA guys, they're 3rd, 4th, and 5th, possibly in communication with each other, what would their strategy be to try and put a dent in what's happening with DMR at the moment? Because it looks like Dino's now starting to edge ahead. It could be that the DMR guys have decided to hold the rest of the field back a little bit and let Dino get away. Stephen, what are your thoughts?
I think that Leap's got it in control here. They would, like Mario said, they would run lots of simulations. So Deke being behind the 3 of them, that's not a common thing. So he's more than likely in a fuel-saving strategy. Safa, who we saw last time coming through from 6th to 2nd, he's got the pace to run with Dino and Deke. So for the 2 of them to be in 4th and 5th place at the moment, I think they're both saving fuel.
Okay,
Do
interesting stuff.
You know, and it's nice to me chatting with Stephen on this as well. Now that they've got the team, I wonder if they're also not going with split strategy like we see in Formula One, where 2 of them are running in fuel-saving mode and are going to be going for one stopper, and possibly the guy leading the charge for that team is on a 2-stop strategy. I mean, we might end up seeing that come to play down the line as well. So there's a lot of interesting strategy to see. But I'm not used to seeing Stephen Mocker. He's always had good pace as well, and he's kind of struggling to hang on to the back of this chain. So interesting to see. That really has been a bit of a switcheroo, because it is a different 1, 2, and 3 at this stage. So I don't know. It's a tricky one to call. maybe we're overthinking it, but
Exactly.
it really feels like these guys are
Oh.
running to very, very specific lap times, and they're just trying to clock it in lap after lap after lap because they've run simulations on this.
KLM pace hard on the brakes. Now we're on board with him now, 190 k's an hour, 200 k's an hour plus. Sixth gear. They're using seventh gear on the main straight into seventh now, 250 kilometers an hour as he comes into the hard braking zone here. Ooh, starting to challenge now is KLM pace. KLM pace, of course, just behind SMP Pro now, and he's getting some pressure from behind as well. Someone's on the inside. That's one of the RTA cars on the inside of KLM pace. That's Stephen over there. There's Stephen Mocker down the outside now as they go through the right-hander, and Stephen Mocker might get this position. Let's see, the next corner is going to be a left-hander. Stephen Mocker's going to go for it, gets past him. A beautiful pass in from Stephen Mocker, and Stephen Mocker puts KLM pace down another position.
Jeez, as I was talking about him, that he's coming
just one
chilling.
car up. That was Sir Ian that went past.
Oh, was that Sir Ian?
Oh, look at this. He's getting challenged again. KLM pace getting under real pressure here. Just gets overtaken. And he's now got the Stiganator behind him as well. Also challenging. That's Alan van Graan. One of the new guys on the grid there. Alan van Graan now challenging KLM pace. And the regular Division 1 boys aren't having it all their way today by the looks of things.
Did we get that wrong, Stephen? Because I mean, we're jumping around trying to see who got the pass done there. So
that was
Ian.
That was Ian Bergstedt.
SMP3 Pro, the DMR car, just ahead of Ian in pace.
Oh, that was a great overtake move.
Fantastic.
I think. Yeah, KLM was busy having his own battle and nearly ran into the back of the car in front of him. And so Ian said, "Thank you very much. I'll have a sniff at that." But amazing commitment around the outside. I mean, that's proper. But that they left each other space as well and didn't fall over each other is a credit to both of them. So
none of these
really
guys
amazing
have fallen
driving.
over each other yet. It's really quite incredible. DMR Dina in first place. De Jager in second place over there. RTA Safa in third position. Leap in fourth place over there. That, of course, is Cornet in fourth place over there. Then we got DKP, it's still unusual for me to see Deacon down in fifth position, but still we're going to have to see those fuel strategies play out. SMP Pro in sixth, and Sir Ian, apologies, Sir Ian, I got that one wrong. That is Ian Bergstedt over there in seventh position with KLM pace right behind him.
You know what I'm wondering?
Some quick maths. So, we in a 40-minute race, so if they are going to do two stops and they're splitting it equally, we should start either this lap or the next lap. Possibly, we might start seeing some pit stops in the 13-14-minute mark.
It's going to be interesting to see if anyone is going with it. I'm predicting their split strategy here. I think if I was a team, I would have a go at that, instead of everyone running on the same strategy.
So making a move here. This is RTA Safa going on Team DJ. Oh, RTA Safa down the outside there gets blocked. And RTA Safa was nobody pitted yet. RTA Safa going for the move there on De Jager and making sure De Jager knows that he means business, and this is all about pressure now. 27 minutes to go, and RTA Safa started to pile on the pressure now on Joan De Jager. I think he's got a little bit of pace on him, mate. I think he's got a little bit of pace on him. And he's trying to line up a move, but certainly letting him know that he's there. And Joan De Jager keeping Dino honest right in front of him. Dino not able to get away as RTSF has another look down the inside there.
I'm wondering as well. I mean, if we had to do an incident report for this, it would be so bloody boring because these guys just don't fall over each other. But I'm wondering if in Gran Turismo, the ability to go door to door, if the game doesn't allow it, if it's not easier, because I know the guys do complain, Assetto Corsa, that it's quite difficult to put yourself in that proximity.
Yeah, I think Assetto Corsa exaggerates the touching. Certainly, I feel that. I spent a fair bit of time on the game, and on the sim, it certainly does feel like a little bit of a touch causes an exaggerated sort of reaction. I'm not sure what GT Sport is like these days. The last time I competed in a GT game, it was GT4, could have been. So it was a long time ago. But certainly these guys are able to keep it close. They keep it close, keep it tidy. As RTS Safa now once again has another look. He's going down the outside here as they go down the main straight. It's very fast, 250 k's an hour plus 7th gear as they're going to the main braking zone over here. RTS Safa has a look, but no, sticks his nose in there. Joan De Jager manages to keep him honest.
Yeah, but watch, he's got the run. He's got the run on him here, though. So it was actually brilliantly done. He's
Well
actually got him
called,
here.
Marius. Well
Yeah,
called.
he's got the run because I
Push
think
him out of position.
if you recall, it's going to be a brave man under braking here. Oh, well done, brilliant.
Wow.
Jean is having the drive of his life, but I mean that was such amazing. If you watch, Safa was actually on the outside, so you'd imagine he would stay there, but he obviously braked a little bit early to give himself a really good exit out of the center S.
That is really thinking ahead, isn't it? That is thinking ahead.
Big time. But that was some committed driving. So it was really, really good to see Juan de Jong showing lots of composure there. So that was brilliant.
KLM Pace getting his own back there, gets back at Sir Ian, and this time I want to get the names right. KLM Pace there gets the overtake on Sir Ian, and now back into 7th position for our man KLM Pace. I've got to be honest about this, I'm a bit of a fan. I'm a bit of a fan of KLM Pace. I like the way they do things. I like the way their car looks, and 7th position so far. He's not going to be happy with that. I'm sure he's going to chase for a little bit more, but at least he got that position back as we go back on board now with RTA Safa still chasing hard on the DMR boys in 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, it looks like he's backed off a little bit now, and maybe just to compose himself and then give it another run. Maybe he's made a mistake somewhere on the circuit that we missed, but he's definitely a little bit further back. But yeah, no one's pitted yet. So Stephen, I reckon that's 2-stop strategy out the window. So it really looks like all of these guys are playing fuel save mode, and they're going to thrash it out at the end with whoever's got some fuel left.
But it's nice to see them. It's nice to see them starting to put the hammer down. Oh, what's this? Safa makes the move. He's on the outside now. Will he be able to make it stick as they go through the double left-hander? Safa on the outside. They've got another left-hander coming up. Oh, Juan de Jager takes it back as Safa runs wide, and Juan de Jager makes it stick. And now RTS Safa getting his own teammate real up close and personal in 4th position there.
Geez, it's such a tricky place to do an overtake around the outside. I mean, ideally you want to be on the inside there for that exact reason, because at the end of the day, all the guy's got to do is just take his racing line like he normally does, and you're going to get pushed out wide and possibly get penalized by the game. So you actually saw Carl back out of that one. Wisely done in that situation, but certainly trying everything. But he really does have some really good drive out of center S's. He does have that 1-2-3 corner combo lined up because he is immense out of there.
As we go on board now. Oh, bit of a twitch there in front. This car's so loose. Stephen,
now here comes the run. Here comes the run because of that little mistake from Juan. Have a look. So he's gone and lost his drive. This will be an easy pass.
Oh,
now.
Look at that. Look at how easy he makes that stick.
Yeah, you literally, a little twitch like that on the grass, and all of that little mistake you carry all the way down this down the swamp straight.
So I'm going for it on the brakes.
Tries to make it back, and look at that unbelievable commitment on the braking. Side by side, they touch ever so slightly, but it is clean racing all the way here as Juan de Jager gets his 2nd place back.
Also notice going down the main straight, Dino moved over to give Jean a bit of a slipstream, which might have helped a little bit there.
I didn't think he'd come back. I think Dean was actually just really, really early on the brakes, and I must say, Jean.
Oh, he goes again. Look at that.
Fully committed under braking. What a move. Jeez, that was a cracker.
Again gets it back. These guys are changing positions left and right. Safa now back in 2nd position, and an unbelievable move we saw early on get taken back as Kyle Oosthuizen once again reclaims his 2nd position. We go on board now with Juan de Jager now back in 3rd position, getting pressure on both ends now because he's now got a bit of a sandwich going on here, and he's going to try and make sure to not get overtaken, but yet still claim that 2nd position back. We saw he wasn't happy with 3rd place early on, and I'm sure he's not happy with 3rd place right now.
But listen, Ernest, that was some of the best racing I've seen over the last 3 laps in terms of trying different places, and I literally thought that Dean had that. Carl had that pass done.
He makes the same mistake. He makes the same mistake.
Exactly. I thought Carl had that move done, but Juan was a demon under brakes, but he's under massive pressure now. Let's see if we know he's good under brakes going into turn 1, but it's going to be interesting to see what sort of pressure Carl can put on Dean now, because there's definitely been a little breakaway over here, so interesting to see if they're going to run away with it.
Juan de Jager in 3rd position now.
There's a mistake there at the back as well, so who was that? Diki making a big mistake there, I think.
DKP, not someone that we often see making mistakes, and certainly not someone we often see down in 5th position. A disappointing showing from him today as we go on board with the 7th place man, KLM Pace, right behind SMP 3 Crow, that's Steven Mocker over there, in 6th position with Deacon in 5th place. So KLM Pace is going to try and challenge for that 6th position now and gets it right up close and personal. And look at that. KLM Pace did get rid of Sir Ian. Sir Ian had slipped back a little bit in 8th position. And the beautiful KLM Pace car now starting to apply all sorts of pressure. Are these guys having tire issues? Because we're seeing a very much a different lay of the land today.
Yeah, it's looking
on the 20-minute mark, so you should be seeing pit stops either this lap or next.
And it's looking very, very busy. I mean, that car we know is alive, but there's a lot of twitching and a lot of sliding coming on the power. But yeah, that little mistake that Deacon made, either he's gone now braked himself into turn 1, and that's compromised him losing the rear going into 2. But he's dropped off the back of that little battle. So interesting to see if he can get himself back on. And I suppose someone's into pits, 2 guys into the pit. So interesting now to see what people are going to choose, who's going to be brave in terms of fuel and how much fuel they put in as well, Stephen, because we know the guys might want to run light here, but I think it's going to be a risk.
Dino and sorry, Steve.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
We're having one of those little dancing moments. SMP3 Pro Stigmator were on 0%, and then you can see 5% for Leap, 3% for Safa. That's extra second or 2 on your pit stop time.
Yeah.
Obviously, with them all one-stopping, what we may see here is a bit of an undercut from the guys that pitted this lap.
Well, what I'm interested
in means is Dean and JDJ possibly had slightly more fuel.
Well, that's what I'm quite interested to see is when Dean pulls in, what sort of fuel he's got left, because obviously Carl, they're having 3 left, the rest on naught, so he's kind of been sitting like we predicted in fuel saving mode, because remember he was running behind his 2 teammates, so it looks like he might have benefited from some fuel saving there. So it'll be interesting to see what Juan has and Dean when they choose to pit, and if they choose to pit now, which I think would probably make the most sense. We normally see that in Formula 1 to kind of block off your opposition, so it would make sense if they pitted now.
I don't think they would have enough fuel to carry on.
Yeah.
KLM Pace, the big winner so far, up into 6th position as the leader goes into pits. Dino and
you see, so this is interesting. So Carl definitely benefited. He hasn't been leading. Dean's led from the start, so he's breaking the air. He's doing all of the hard work for everyone else in Tour de France style mode. So have a look, he's got zip. So does Jean, 0. Whereas if you remember, Carl had 3 on his fuel, so he would then be able to fuel for less. So I'm expecting when the pit stops are done here, we're going to see Carl in the lead.
He also had to fuel for 1 lap longer, though.
Yeah.
Interesting to see. Safa now going down the main straight. Safa going down the main straight, currently in 3rd position. He's waiting for. Has Safa taken the lead? Oh, not yet. Let's wait and see as they come around the outside here. The car should be coming out the pit lane on the left over there somewhere.
On the track map, it looks like Dino's still
ahead.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, look at that.
Safa's way ahead.
Look at that. We're going to have to wait and see what happens.
Oh
no, Dino's got it. Dino's got it. Oh, it's so close, but they're going to the braking zone. This is going to be a braking duel over here. Down the inside, they touch.
That's a great undercut, because I don't know what the tire warming up is like in GT Sport, but I'd imagine having that extra lap is up to racing. Okay, because I mean, Carl would be flippant on it, but how close was that coming out? I mean, that was almost the undercut, so worked perfectly there for Carl, but good job by Dino. You're right, Stephen, he obviously had extra fuel for 1 extra lap, but it literally came down to the wire in terms of that. Now we've got to figure out who's put how much fuel in.
Well, I think they've all fueled to the end, so I don't think most of them have filled up by the looks of things. RTS Safa now in 2nd position. Dino in 1st with Leap in 3rd. And
but remember
was a bit of the loser there, dropping all the way down to 7th.
Yeah.
Josh, how did John de Jager end up in 7th position?
He was about 2 seconds behind Dino. I think possibly maybe he ran out of petrol coming up to the fuel.
KLM Pace, the big winner in 5th. KLM Pace gets it in 5th place. Jean de Jager is absolutely going to kick himself for this one.
He did look slow going into the pits, so maybe that was it, that he actually literally had run out of out of fuel. But like we saw last time, Stephen, we don't know. I mean, unless we go on board now, we can see we don't know how many liters these guys have loaded. So, maybe it was that Dean decided this could be close and he's gone and fueled himself a little bit shorter. Who knows?
I did take a look coming out the pits. Obviously, Gran Turismo shows as 99% on a full tank.
Yeah.
Dean came out on 94, but he has one lap less to do, so he should be good to the end. It looks like we're going to have a pure battle here, Safo versus Dino.
Yeah, Safa's certainly these guys certainly applying the pressure to each other over here. Safa applying the pressure big time. Look at that wide line that he's taken over there, and look at the tight line.
Well, you see, he's on the racing line, whereas Dean's had to go defensive. So that's why you're seeing the different lines here immediately. I mean, that's not where you want to put your car in the middle of the track there. So Carl able to pick his line and get really good drive out of the corners. But like we know, this is the corner that counts here. So Dean's really got to nail it. You don't want any snaking of that rear. You don't want to push any wheel onto dirt, because you need optimum drive for the long climb out of this. And have a look all over the back of him now is Carl getting into the slipstream and bringing his mate along with him. So Cornet is still in for a cracker. His best result lying in third at the moment.
Yeah, Cornet there.
Sir Ian disconnected a few seconds back, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a pretty... oh, look at this. Look at this. These guys are really starting to have a look at that inside line over there is Kyle. And the understeer through that section is very prevalent. This car really does move around all over the place. Side to side, left and right. And now look at this. These guys are jostling for position here. It's not that train we saw for the first 20 minutes. Marius, look at that. Around the outside here. This is the double left-hand. And once again, he's going to try and make that move stick around the outside. This time he's done it. This time he's done it. Gets the drive now, and he's got the inside line to catch. Oh my goodness!
He's got that done. That is brilliant. I mean, I can't believe how they both went super defensive into turn one. I mean, Carl was literally following Dean, but what a great move around the outside. We saw it didn't work earlier when he tried it on Juan, and he backed out of it because he's getting pushed wide. But this time he had better drive out of the center S's and around the outside. Proper commitment. Nice little nudge, pushing him wide under braking. These two are really having a ding-dong battle, and I love it. And all that it does is it brings Cornet into it as well. So Dean's now got to watch his mirrors as well, because teammates to Dean is all over the back of him now as well.
Oh my goodness me, he's got more pressure.
That will look for Dean, cost him a bit, I think.
Yeah.
It's given Safa a couple of tenths and put Leap right onto the back, in a place that you don't want someone behind you.
Not now, but I mean, we've seen it's very easy to go super defensive here. My suggestion to Cornet is don't follow him. Let him go defensive, but have a look. Obviously, Dean feeling confident enough that Cornet was far enough back. They didn't have to go and block the inside for turn one. And he's all over the back of Kyle again, so really good drive he got out of that corner. Expect to see Kyle go defensive and block the inside line here, which could be a repeat of what we saw in the previous lap. This time, Dean is going to try and go around the outside of Kyle. It's brilliant.
Oh my goodness.
Still don't know how Carl made that work around the outside. Just on that though, we've got Diki and Pace catching this group with Carl and Dino battling.
Yeah.
This turning into a 5-way fight.
Oh, yeah, and 12 minutes to go. I love it.
And these guys are starting to slow each other down a little bit, ever so slightly. And earlier on, we were wondering if we would see a procession all the way around, and that's certainly not the case. And could this be, I think this in fact, I'm just checking now, this would be Kyle's first win if he can pull it off. He's got a second position in the bag before. He's doing well in the championship, but how will it look if he wins? It'll be interesting to see if this will shuffle things up a little bit, and the race is still nowhere near over. Still plenty action up ahead as Dino in second place, now 0.5 of a second behind, getting lots and lots of pressure from more RTA guys behind him.
Jeez,
to the party DTPs right on the back now.
Yeah, but I mean, I really do feel sorry for Dino. He's like that one oak in a fight with the Lebanese. It's like all of the brothers come. It's like the whole family's involved. But it's like he is the only one
for
DMR.
His two teammates, second and third. Obviously, Taylor disconnecting, unfortunately, and JDJ, if it was fueling or just error on the last couple turns before the pit stop, but they've left Dean exposed to 3 opposition team cars.
Oh, man. And it's just good as well for the championship, because I mean, Tiki was way down. We know he won the last round, and he's in a really strong championship position. So good to see him coming back into contention here in 4th place now as well. But I'm just really impressed with Cornet, and I think he's doing exactly what his job is now, is keep Dean as busy as possible so that Carl can actually concentrate on opening up a little gap and going for a race win.
Going for a race
win.
win.
Leap's looking for a way through here.
Yeah, Leap is definitely looking for a way through there. Leap, of course, in 3rd position.
Upside, Dino has Safa's slipstream now.
Yeah.
Sure. These guys are really using that slipstream in this car, and because it's such a long straight, Steven, I'm sure the slipstream is a crucial function of this circuit.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to be the car in front if it comes to the last lap.
Oh my goodness. So we've got a NASCAR situation over here.
Yeah.
We're going to have a NASCAR finish, eh?
Well, if I was Carl, I'd be trying to get more than a 7/10 gap to get Dean out the slipstream for the last lap.
Yeah, but you know what, I wouldn't be stressing too much, because what he's got at the moment, if you remember last time, we've had guys in proper slipstream, but you can go and block off turn 1 and really put yourself on the inside and cut that corner off completely. So I think they've kind of worked out where to place their cars from a defensive perspective here. So I expected to see a lot more overtaking happening down the straight, but I think these guys are so crafty when they do go defensive, they can really block out the center S's. But I don't know if you guys watched Moto 3 yesterday from Barcelona, and it's like no one going into the last 2 corners, no one wanted to lead over the line in the last lap because of the draft. And I mean, like Darren Binder was sitting there. Oh, it's a big twitch from Carl. Darren Binder was holding back. Everyone, they all sat up. No one wanted to take the lead. And it's like, I actually wish Darren just went screw you Oaks and went. If he had have gone earlier, he probably would have had enough of a gap, but he ended up getting absolutely mugged by the time he got into turn 1. So that's kind of the scenario that you often have here. But I'm surprised we haven't seen more passes happen. In actual fact, we've seen no passes happen into turn 1, which is historically the place where you overtake it into Interlagos.
Oh, so close now. Look at this. The pressure now getting applied to the leader over here. And this is not what we thought we'd see. We thought we'd see an overtake, and then we'd see that lead car start to get a bit of a gap. But now he's getting pressure from our 2nd place man over here. And they both run a little bit wide there. And just that exit over there, that is the most difficult part of this section by the looks of things.
You see, what I'm not understanding, for me, I don't know why Dean is showing a nose going into turn 12. Rather just line yourself up and get good drive, because he showed his nose to Carl. All that happens is just compromising his exit. And have a look, that cost him big time. That cost him big time there. So I think if he just stays in line and knows that this is where the move's going to be, he's going to be a lot closer, because Carl really did have fantastic exit out of turn 12 up the hill there. Really, he opened up a massive gap.
Even Mocker putting a little bit of pressure there on his teammate as we go on board with KLM Pace now, with Deacon in front of him. KLM Pace in 5th position. Bit of a touch there between 2nd and 3rd place. That was Dino.
I don't want to get past on the outside again there.
Yeah.
I was just looking, we've got the top 7 within 3 seconds and the top 5 within 1.5 seconds.
It's great. It's crazy. Because you called it, Stephen, earlier. I mean, KLM Pace has now joined this. You know, it was a party for 3, then it became a party for 4, now it's a party for 5. This is actually fantastic. And just on the back of that is Juan Diago as well. So he's coming back into this as well. So with 7 minutes to go, you're a brave man to pick a winner.
This is definitely one of those NASCAR type finishes, isn't it? Yeah. I'm getting giddy here just thinking about it, because we don't know what's going to happen next. You got 7 minutes of racing to go, and this whole apple cart could be tumbled upside down in the upcoming laps.
Yeah, but that was way better by Dean there. He obviously didn't muck around, just got himself, and have a look at the draft he's going to get now, because he's got good drive out of that corner. I expect to see Carl go super defensive here into turn 1. He hasn't. He feels he's got the slipstream covered. So that's what's also nice here. You see the guys all come to the pit lane, and then if they realize the guy's too far back, he's far enough back, they move across to take their traditional racing line. So the guys really are watching mirrors here to make sure they position their cars in the right place.
Oh, Dino applying some pressure now on Safa. Dino down the outside here. They got the double left-hander coming. We know that this is an overtaking opportunity here. Outside might not be the best idea. You've now got Leap stepping into the lead in 2nd place. Wow, Leap gets ahead there. We got Safa now and Dino and Leap battling it out. And look at that. I think the order might have gone back to
It has.
It has gone back to 1, 2, and 3 as it was, but holy moly!
Jeez, like it was almost like Kyle was backing him up to give, no, seriously, to give Cornet a chance up the inside, because, geez, he took a full dive up there, and well done to Dean to resist that. Proper commitment going into the next corner to block that up. But have a look. I mean, this is turning into a proper bun fight, because Deaky is now quite keen, and so is KLM Pace, and they've all joined. And on the back is Stephen Mocker. So this is turning into a cracker. And then we've got SM3 Quick Pro. Stephen's there. I'm trying to see who's hanging on the back as well. Fluffy Butt
Hanging on to the back of the field.
Terrible how Fluff hangs on the back of your butt, but he's in with a shout now as well. So
Yeah,
this is brilliant.
and he's a Division 2 gentleman. He's a Division 2 guy, and I mean, he's in the top 8, and that is something. I mean, look at this pack, and
Stephen
he is
Mocker
right
having a
in
run
there.
up the inside. Yeah, have a look.
I
Stephen
think
Mocker.
he might have had it. Let's see.
Made it on pace.
Yeah,
Stephen
he's made
Mocker
it.
gets past pace. Yes.
So that's our first move that I've seen going into turn 1. So he really obviously made use of the slipstream and commitment under the brakes to run it up the inside there. So well done to Stephen. KLM Pace still in with a shout, and there you see Fluffy Butt going into turn.
that was-
There's contact. That was Stephen
Halen
Mocker.
back on Stephen.
I think it's
don't
Juan de Jager. That's Juan de Jager and Pace mixing it up
Yeah.
there. Stephen is
No.
one back.
Yeah, so
Oh,
you're right, JDJ.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
is it?
Juan de Jager and KLM
well
Pace.
done.
Stephen is
Well
one
done.
back. Stephen is
Well
one
done.
back. So those two guys are giving each other the full beans here. Juan de Jager, we saw right up front of the pack earlier, and a
There's some
Safa
big
now.
battling at the front.
Big touch going into the first corner. I think
back to
Safa's
the
got
lead.
past. I think Dino's got past. Yes, Dino's in the lead at the moment.
No,
Safa
he's
down in
been
second
blocked.
place.
Oh, and there was a block pass check. The two cars next to each other.
Safa's back
Wow.
in first. Safa's back in first.
Second.
It's no, this is Dino in first. Let's have a look.
Dino's- But have a look at the draft. Have a look at the
Dino's
draft
in
now.
first.
So here we go. This is going to be all out attack into turn 1. Man,
I'm
this
not
is
sure what
cracker.
happened through those last two tight right-handers, but I think
KLM Pace has jumped up as well.
Yeah.
Check. KLM Pace is in fourth
Kalen
now.
stuck it up the inside of Deaky because at one stage it was 3 cars, white cars around Dino's yellow car, and
Oh, these guys are going
Kalen
three
said thank you
abreast
very
here.
much and jumped up there.
What
But
an insane race so far. You've
I'd
got
love to have seen a replay on that on the previous lap going to this turn now, because someone really got it sideways. I don't know if they got tapped on that move. I don't know if you recall, but there's certainly been a bit of argy-bargy stuff going on. But what a move by Dean. We obviously missed it sideways, Carl, literally lighting things up there, and that's going to give Dean a bit of a breathing break. Luckily, he's got his teammate Cornet behind him.
DKP's dropped down to 6th position, guys. DKP has dropped down to 6th position. Safa now in 2nd place. Dino now back in 1st, and he'll be happy about that. Withstanding all this pressure as the guys still make it through here. Line astern. We've got Dino in 1st, Safa in 2nd, Leap in 3rd, KLM Pace challenging for that now for podium position, coming from all the way back earlier on. KLM Pace carving his way through the field, and he is a man on an absolute mission at the moment. Juan de Jager in 5th place, DKP all the way down in 6th, with SMP Pro and Fluffy Butt making up the top 8.
Yeah, so Juan's had a bit of a good comeback. I'd love to have seen what happened there, because that was a big move. I mean, basically, KLM Pace found 2 positions there. So we know those guys were having a heavy scrap, but it looks like Dean has certainly opened up a nice little gap here. We saw Kyle getting it really sideways coming out of one of the corners, and that's kind of really ruined his charge. But 2 minutes to go for the championship. We need Kyle to get a pass done here, because I think it'll keep it very interesting at the top.
Oh, yes. The championship standings are definitely going to be shuffled around now. I mean, Dino is a regular at the top, but certainly it's nice to see Safa in 1st place.
KLM Pace very wide off the track, but he's kept it under control.
Oh, penalty.
There's a slowdown
Penalty for KLM Pace. He's got to slow down. He's got 2-second penalty, slows all the way down. And this is a terrible spot to be slowing down on the main straight. He's still got 2.1 seconds in hand, and he's going to try and do this as strategically as possible. But potentially a position lost now for KLM Pace.
Yeah, we saw him go really wide as he came out of the center S's, so that's really going to hurt him, and he was having such a good run as well. But yeah, what have we got? A minute to go, so basically this is going to take us onto our last lap. So I'd love to get back on the action up front to see if Kyle is here. Have a look at that. Kyle's it's not on the back of Dino, so Dean doing a fantastic job making it count when he has to, you know. So this is going to be
there's one lap pressure tires, I think, came into it, and a little bit of a Moto 3 let off the brake and just put the nose in overtaking move that we missed.
Yeah, proper block pass, wasn't it? But I mean, you're right, it could be tyres at this stage. And also, I suppose, very easy to like, you actually start over-driving a car like this. But have a look at KLM Pace, is really going to drop back now. Big time. So that's a real pity for him.
His race ruined, down into 7th position, all the way from 4th.
One little mistake.
One tiny mistake.
One little mistake, and the game's punished him. But listen, I mean, really brilliant by Dean. I don't want to say that he went and held off and planned to do it like he did it, because Carl certainly was mixing it up. But he made the move when he needed to make the move, and he's gone and made the gap that he needed to make to secure this victory. So that's why he's leading the championship. He's brilliant, but fantastic racing again. Wow. And nice to see some new guys in there. As it stands, this will be a first podium for Kone as well, which is a great result for him.
Yeah, Safa, unfortunately, once again in 2nd position. I'm sure he's not going to be happy with that. He was hoping to get that win, I'm sure, but now 2.1 seconds down. He's resigned himself to 2nd position as they make their way around the circuit for what could be the last time, if I'm not mistaken. And what an interesting race tonight has been in the Mercedes-Benz Vision GT. Certainly providing lots of thrills and spills here tonight. Very close racing, surprisingly, Marius.
Listen, it's not surprising when you get these guys on any track in any car. It is always close. It's always brilliant racing. And again, I mean, no incidents. And look how much door-to-door stuff we've had. Yeah. So really fantastic. But Dean, absolute legendary drive. Look how much of a gap he's opened. I don't know if Kyle's gone into fuel save mode at this stage, just to make sure he gets across the line and secures. Leaps past him. So, yeah.
Looks like he let
Leap no! Okay, let Leap go through. That's strange. So Leap gets 2nd position. Oh my goodness me, folks. What a shuffle of the deck there. Why would he do that?
Well, I think for team strategy and points, you know, I think at the end of the day, for him helping his teammates score some points.
Gotta go to an ad break, guys. We've got to go to an ad break. We'll be right back after this. Ooh, and a sigh from me then. I'm sure a sigh of relief from Dino as he crossed the line in first place. Maybe it was strategy, but certainly he was kept honest by the RTA guys. But eventually, a sacrifice could have been made, looks like it, as Kyle Oosthuizen moves down into third position after securing second place. But that means that Corne Esterhuizen gets his best finish with a second position. Marius and Steven, you guys were talking about the fact that this could be a team tactic to make sure that they get more guys into the finals at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen, you and I were chatting about it before the race about how the teams are going to work together and the strategy. And Corne's done the legwork today. He was leading the RTA charge right from the beginning. And I think, obviously, in my opinion, they worked together to try and give Kyle a chance at the victory. When it didn't work out, it really felt like Kyle just gave that position to Corne to secure as many points as possible, because Kyle, going into this race, was sitting pretty comfortably, if I remember, in third position in the championship. So top 10 make it to Cape Town. So these are teammates working together, and I know that they do work together. So quite possibly that could have happened. Stephen, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, the idea is obviously the top 10 go to Cape Town. It doesn't matter if you're 10th or 1st. So the RTA guys, I know we all been chatting about going down and the jokes about whose house we're buying it, because RTA Donkey and a couple of RTA Stignate who finished 9th, they Cape Town boys.
I'm glad Fluffy Butt's not from Cape Town, because I don't want to bride his house.
I think he is in the Cape, eh?
We always knew that team orders, and I've always said that team orders would come into play if that was the case. And you always see that, whatever the rules are, race car drivers play by those rules. And if that rule can be bent or moved or used in your favor or in your team's favor, you're going to see that happen. And I think that's what we saw today. The guys are literally strategizing to give themselves the best possible chance in the finals. And, who can blame them? This is a championship after all. This is a competition after all, with so much at stake at the end of the season. I mean, the Mercedes-Benz ATK Pro Series is something that you want to make sure you get the best possible results. And well done to the guys and their team strategies. And well done to the top 3 more specifically today. Also, I'd just like to mention our man Fluffy Butt there, making up Steyn Nieuwenhuizen, making up the top 8 in this round. And well done to him for performing. I mean, from Division 2 now performing and rubbing shoulders with the big boys in Division 1.
Yeah, it was sad that we lost a couple of guys with connectivity issues, but I mean, that's always the lacquer thing, is that it comes down to lap time. So Division 2 get a chance to go and mix up with Division 1. So it's great to see the guys getting that opportunity, and certainly weren't far off the lead pack. Fantastic racing again, though. I really love it. I think from what I see in GT Sport is that these guys go and run simulations that are so professional in terms of figuring out what lap times they need to run. And they literally in this race were running to a lap time delta, I can guarantee you, because they've worked out exactly how much fuel they need to put in and when they need to make a stop. What I'd love to see, because this feels very Formula One for me in terms of strategy, what I'd love to see when you get to Cape Town is that they don't know the track, they don't know the car, and it's raw. So you get in, so you don't have that time with your team to go and work out strategy and who goes when and who does what, because I think that will really mix things up, because these guys are tight and they really do put in a lot of hours on the sim. So a lot of them might say, no, that's stupid, because you're not going to give us a fair chance at it. But I think it will really mix things up a little bit.
Well, mixing things up is certainly what we're going to be doing soon. We're waiting for those championship standings that will be available shortly in the coming days. But the next round will be at Spa-Francorchamps, and one of our personal favorite tracks, Marius. We've had plenty action there in the ATK Pro Series, powered by Mercedes-Benz over the years when it comes to the Assetto Corsa platform. But certainly now for Gran Turismo Sport, we'll be heading to Spa for the first time, and this is going to be an insane race.
In a Formula One car.
In a Formula One car.
Oh, gosh. I mean, things don't get any better, do they? I mean, we spent the weekend watching the 24-hour Nürburgring, which ended up turning into a 3-hour sprint race in there, and sadly. But I mean, those are the sort of circuits that people talk about, and it's a sort of track you want to go to win. So I'd love to know what's going to happen from a GT Sport perspective if there is weather, because we've seen it happen in the Assetto Corsa, and it really does mix things up. But I can tell you now, to be able to take a Formula One car around Spa must just be the
that is a
ultimate.
dream come
Because,
true. Yes.
yeah, it's a
But
circuit that
more
is
specifically, the Mercedes-Benz AMG F1, the 2017 model, Lewis Hamilton
yeah.
championship winning car. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
just
going to be
a circuit designed for proper downforce, and now suddenly you've got a car that provides you with all of that. So I think the contrast from what they drove today at Interlagos is going to be massive. You know, where you literally have the sucking down to the ground effect, as opposed to a squiggly, twitchy little beast that you're trying to manipulate around. So it's going to be very, very cool to see.
Oh, interesting stuff indeed as things hot up as we make our way through the championship. And some familiar names at the top spot, Dino, of course, but certainly a bit of a shuffling of the deck today once again. And that's what we've come to expect with a Premier Division like this. It's not all going to be easy. And, it's not supposed to be easy. This is the most talent-rich competition available at the moment when it comes to Assetto Corsa and when it comes to Gran Turismo Sport. And of course, none of that would be possible without our sponsors. We've got Mercedes-Benz, we've got Motorsport South Africa, Kyalami Nijnhoven, and Coach Dave Academy, making sure these guys have all the skills and setups that they need. Marius, any final words from you as we go into the next round at Spa in the next couple of weeks?
Can we race tomorrow? Ernest, I just love. I've really enjoyed commentating this series, because the racing for me has been amazing. And I mentioned it earlier. You know, we've got incident reports, and oh my goodness, there's bitching and moaning on the chats and everything about decisions, and just feels like, you know, these oaks are here to race, and they do it, and there's no bitching and moaning, and they put on a really good spectacle, and it's been amazing to watch again. We had real close racing today where guys are leaning on each other, and fantastic. That's why I want to go and watch racing, is to see that action.
Action indeed. Stephen, any news, any thoughts from your side regarding the action we saw today?
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed Safa's move around the double left-hander on the outside. I think that was my move of the day. There's a bit of rubbing and nudging, but Gran Turismo allows it. It's not like Assetto Corsa where you have huge amounts of damage, so you can get away with it, and we look forward to Spa.
21st of June, lots to look forward to it. Of course, when Formula One cars touch, they tend to go in opposite directions. Some of them up, some of them sideways. Those wheels don't like touching, so hopefully none of that will be happening. But expect plenty action from the ATK Mercedes-Benz Pro Series. Of course, this is the GT Sport leg of the championship. We'll see you guys on the 21st of June. Don't forget to join us then. My name is Ernest Page, joined by Marius Roberts and Stephen. We'll see you guys on the 21st of June.
Thank you.